Pressure group Occupy Ghana has served notice it will drag the Auditor General to court in 30 days if it fails to recover state funds which were illegally paid to some individuals. A leading member of the group and legal practitioner, Ace Ankuma, revealed this on Wednesday at a forum to discuss corruption in the country organized by Occupy Ghana and Imani Ghana.
Ladies and gentlemen, I am pleased to announce that by 3 p.m. today, Occupy Ghana sent a letter on the Auditor General that he should exercise his powers within 30 days or we go to court. That's the letter. It's addressed to the Auditor General and the Attorney General, and we demand that we have been through, ladies and gentlemen, 11 years, 2002 to 2012, the Audit Service report, yes, all of us. And we have identified a catalog. In fact, we stopped because it was like we were producing the reports. And so we are asking him, have you done disallowance or surcharge? If you haven't, explain to Ghanaians why you haven't. If you have, show us where you did it and how much you have recovered, because the people should have paid within 60 days. Now, that is a challenge to you, because we can talk about all of these nice things and go to our homes, but unless any of us is prepared to get up and have a backbone and a spine and speak up, this will continue. They spend your money and you bow at them. May God have mercy on all of us.
The move by Pressure Group Occupy Ghana comes in the wake of concerns by the Public Accounts Committee of Parliament over the mismanagement of public funds by the Metropolitan, Municipal and District Assemblies and many other state institutions in Ghana, as revealed by the Auditor General's report. Let's listen to one such sitting of the committee in the northern region of Ghana.
So your inability as an assembly to notify controller that he owes money, grounds for payment of that, are you aware it's against the financial agreement?
It certainly is. What I have we run straight to the bank to stop it. But this is going to happen before some of us got there. So that is why we are pursuing with all this.
But you see, it is very, your duty is to protect the little coin the people of Ghana put into every endeavor.
What we have realized is that many of the issues or concerns raised by the Auditor General are similar in all the assemblies. The issues border on cash irregularities, tax irregularities, contract irregularities, procurement irregularities. And in reading the Auditor General's report, especially his transmittal letter to Parliament, one sees clearly the frustration of the Auditor General because of the recurrence of many of these issues. Many of the issues we are looking at today were looked at here last year in the previous report. And what is of greater concern is the lack of commitment on the part of the managers of the public funds at the assembly level so far as the issues raised by the Auditor General is concerned.
But has the Public Accounts Committee, whose duty is to examine the audited accounts and ensure they meet the public expenditure of the government as presented to the House by the Auditor General of Ghana, living up to expectation? My name is Stephen Enti, and this is today's big story. Well, welcome back. We'll be discussing these and many more of the concerns that are being raised by Occupy Ghana. And then speak to the Public Accounts Committee. We are joined in the studio by Alhaji Abubakar Day, who is ranking member of the Public Accounts Committee, to do some discussions on this. Good evening, sir, and thanks for joining us. So, Public Accounts Committee, are you living up to your expectation? I mean, I wouldn't expect that a court case would make everybody wake up to the reality that we're losing money.
Thank you very much, and greetings to your viewers.
Yeah,
I think we are doing our part.
You're doing your part?
Yes. Whether the other institutions are also doing their part is another matter. But as far as we are concerned, we are living to expectation.
Now, I know that in the various sittings of the Public Accounts Committee, you probe, you look at some Auditor General's reports, and then you look at some expenditure figures that come before you, etc., etc. Would you say that over the period that you have taken part in committee sittings, the waste in the system is alarming, or how would you describe it?
Yeah, it is. It has always been. Before even I came to Parliament, and before I became a member of the Public Accounts, I was a Director of Audit, Minister of Local Government. In fact, I was institutionalized, established most of the internal audit unit in the MMDAs. And if you read the report, even the past 20 years, it has always been alarming. We'll come to the reason why it has been so. And nothing changes. Maybe people think it can always flout the law with impunity, and I think, in short, that's what happened. If you read the Auditor General's frustration in this report, he said that most of these lapses occur because people find it difficult to comply. They refuse, if I use the word refuse
to comply
with the various regulation acts that establish a DC.
But why can't the law bite on people who refuse such simple things that need to save the country money? All the problem in
this country is because we are, excuse me for my language, perhaps we are a lawless country. Indiscipline, period.
You shouldn't be apologetic for saying that.
I'm telling you, because we don't obey the law.
Constantly
I quite remember, I was listening to your program yesterday when Otabil made a very good simple thing, which was right. Like a Ghanaian can stand here and urinate outside. He dare not do that in Ghana. It's the same Ghanaian. He hasn't changed. He dare do that. He can't do that in London or New York. Why? Because the law works there, and the law doesn't work here. That's the whole spirit, the whole problem. Because there's nothing serves as a deterrent when people flout the law or misbehave. And until we do that, every day we shall meet in this studio, discuss, just waste the tire's money, simple and short. Let's make the law to work. And the Auditor General went further to say that until the key officers of the MMDAs, in other words, the coordinating director, the finance officers, and even the chairman of the subcommittee of the finance committee of the assembly, until they are reprimanded, I mean, all this could not come to an end. He stated categorically. So such people are not punished. And if you go to read the Financial Administration Act, it said that whenever there's financial indiscipline, in fact, the word financial discipline is defined in the Act. In other words, things like this, misappropriation, misinvestment, not supporting documents, etc., all those lapses. Whenever it happens, it is the duty of the head to discipline the officer who incurred that financial discipline.
But the Public Accounts
when he failed himself, he should be disciplined by himself.
The Public Accounts Committee, when you sit on these things and these revelations come up, you are supposed to make the recommendations for discipline to be taken.
No, even before it comes to us, they're supposed. In fact, one of the things we add is that, for example, normally when we go to assembly, a DC comes to you and say, "I wasn't there." Which we are not interested whether you were there or not. Why did you say so? You took over assess liability. When you came, you read the audit report, you're supposed to implement it. In other words, if you read the report and officer causes financial discipline, you're supposed to discipline that officer before you appear on that. If he failed to do it, well, then we recommend that you should be disciplined.
Right. I'll hold you briefly. I'll go on to the telephone lines and speak to Vitus Azim, who is an anti-corruption expert. Good evening, sir, and thanks for joining us.
Good evening.
Now, it doesn't come as surprising to people like you, civil society groups which have been championing the fight against corruption in Ghana. Now, from where you stand, are you able to give us a clear understanding of the things that your civil society groups have been doing, some of which are yielding results or some of which are not yielding results when it comes to the fight against corruption?
It's a bit difficult to say what we've been doing that have yielded results because it doesn't appear that we are succeeding, even though we think that we are putting in our best. For example, 2 weeks ago, we published a report called Show Me the Money, which looked at the audit reports from 2009 to 2011. A report that was debated upon by Parliament and recommendations made for the executive to implement the recommendations. And the report shows that no action was taken at all on most of these recommendations by the Auditor General, which were endorsed by Parliament. Apart from that, we know of the laws, I mean, the various corruption cases that have come out, and people have been paid money illegally and nothing is happening. Nobody is making any serious effort to recover them. So I wouldn't say that we're succeeding, even though we're putting in our best.
Right. So, I mean, when we look at the what appears to be threat that the Occupy Ghana has issued, giving the Auditor General 30 days to take action on sums of money that have been lost to the state, what's your reaction to that position?
Well, I think that they are misdirecting their anger and frustration because the Auditor General has done his work. He's uncovered all the things, irregularities, malpractices that have taken place. Even he himself is frustrated. He has repeated that these things keep coming up every year in every audit report and nothing's being done. But that's how far he can go as an Auditor General. He passed his report to Parliament. Parliament's Public Accounts Committee looked at it and made some recommendations which were endorsed by Parliament. That goes back to the executive, the president and his cabinet to enforce. And the president, I think, was it early this year or late last year, the president specifically instructed the Attorney General to go ahead and prosecute people that are supposed to be prosecuted as by the recommendations of the Auditor General. So if Occupy Ghana is issuing a threat at all, it should go to the Attorney General's department and not to the Auditor General. I believe that the Auditor General has done all that is required of him.
Right.
Of course, Of course, some of us are feeling that Parliament should also be able to call back the ministers to find out what they have done about these audit reports. I don't know whether they have those powers. But at best, Parliament can do that on behalf of, because the Auditor General is only just contributing to Parliament's oversight over the executive. And that's why the Auditor General submits his reports to Parliament.
Right.
So maybe they should even go to Parliament.
Yeah, we'll be trying to get to the telephone line and speak to Ace Ankuma to put these issues before him. But Vitus, we are at a crossroad, won't you say? I mean, at a crossroad where corruption is dangerously eating the fiber of our society. There are people engaged in corrupt practices who do so unapologetically, and yet the law doesn't bite them. I mean, where should we be going from here? What can be done to nip corruption in the bud? Absolutely.
Well, the politician has no motivation to curb corruption because it's time to gain. The senior public officials or whoever that are benefiting have no motivation to stop it. So it's left to we, the citizens, the people who are suffering from these acts of corruption, to do something about it. If you award a contract for the construction of a road, and in less than 4 years, the road starts developing potholes, accidents occur, people die, lorries are destroyed, and yet we have to pay the back loans with interest in about 10 years' time. Definitely, it's the ordinary Ghanaians that are suffering. And so we may have to take the whole task of ourselves going into the streets and demanding that something happens.
But do you think this legal action, the threat of a legal action, is a first good step? Would you say it's a good step?
Well, it is one of the approaches, but I'm not sure that it's going to yield any results.
You sound very pessimistic. You don't think that in 60 days anything can come out of this if Occupy Ghana and the team led by Ace Ankuma proceed to court to demand that these monies are found wherever the monies are sitting or whoever has them?
This government has no track record of, or all our governments have no track record of enforcing the rulings of courts. The Martinamidu cases are still fresh in our minds. We haven't seen any action being taken. We have not been told how far government has done in trying to recover the money that our own Supreme Court has ruled that were illegally paid and that they should be recovered. So if you go to court with the Attorney General, and as I said, I don't think it's the Auditor General should be taken to court, but the Attorney General.
Right.
I don't think that you are going to make any headway.
Right, interesting analysis there from Vitus. We're grateful for your time on today's Big Story. Alaji, Vitus is raising key issues that this threat to take a legal action possibly is misdirected, and that Parliament and the Public Accounts Committee could even do better, could do more. Why are you not doing better?
Well, Parliament and not Public Accounts Committee, but he said it right. I was surprised when I heard that they are sending the Auditor General to the court. Even by the act of the Audit Service and the Constitution, nobody can force the Auditor General to perform its function. Nobody, not even the President. He can only do it under one circumstance, that is in the public interest and with advice from the, how they call them, Council of Elders.
So you also think that this legal action
yes,
is
it's misdirected completely out. You could have sent it to Parliament and the Auditor General or the ministers. You could have directed it. But let me say what you're saying. Yes, Parliament has a rule. You know, when Kendapa was there, one of the recommendations we did is that any ministry, or for that matter, any institution, which fail to implement the recommendation adopted by Parliament, when he brings his budget, we should reject it in the next year. And it was adopted. But why is Parliament not able to do it? So 2030, we expected that all the institutions who failed to carry out the implementation of the Auditor General, their budget should be held until they carry it out. That is a good tool.
Did it work?
The Parliament has the power.
Did it work?
It didn't work because of the nature of our Parliament.
And the nature of our lawlessness.
Good, but the nature of Parliament in the sense that it's more political. Our Parliament is more of the hybrid system doesn't help us. Because you don't expect about 50% of parliamentarians being ministers to come back and vote against checking the executives. So the oversight view of Parliament is very weak. So we have to look at it. Because Parliament can bite. They can decide that, well, if the government is bringing its budget, sorry, these things are not done, like the money you haven't collected, we are going to deduct it from the budget you have brought. Until you collect it to the government. It's the duty of the government to collect it. I just from the UK, when I went to the land, they come out, they were doing recovery of all issues like this, which has been sued by the government and the win. And they have to go to the public accounts to find out whether the recovery, they are able to do it properly as a case study. When they give us that kind of case study, look at it. So here, we could have also looked at why is the money not being collected? Who was supposed to do it? Is it the Yoko supposed to do it? Under the Attorney General or who? But why is it not being doing it?
These are very important questions.
Yes.
You should be providing the answers, not be asking.
I'm asking not you here, please, in the studio.
Yeah.
I'm asking general Ghanaians.
Yeah.
And these are the issues they'll be looking at. I expected that those people suing, these are the issues they'll be looking at. Was it Yoko supposed to do it? Why did they fail it? Or is it the crime unit of the police? Or who, under which ministry, was charged of whenever the court passed its judgment? Which ministry is supposed to recover those things? And why is he not doing it and going on? So this is why I talk about the laws are not working in the country. And there's no way we can move forward if the laws are not working. Simple and short. All that we are doing is just a waste of time until we start disciplining ourselves and respect laws.
Right, until we start disciplining ourselves and respect laws. We're still trying to get Asa Nkuma, who is a leading member of the Occupy Ghana, who is a lawyer to join us in the discussion to analyze whether indeed the threat to go to court to sue the Auditor General is misdirected. You heard Vitus Azim saying that it is misdirected, and Alhaji Bubakar here also thinks same. So Alhaji, when should we begin solving this problem, which is it's not going away?
Well,
corruption, President Kufuor said corruption has been with us.
No, that's not the issue.
Adam,
we
really.
can do a lot.
And we're not doing anything.
We can do a lot. What you are doing is one of the best ways. In fact, I've always praised the price since they started for the past 2 years. You know, now we are exposed to more corruption. At least we are naming people. And what is left now is prosecuting the people. We are naming a lot of people in the corruption. We are exposing a lot of things to come out. Not that it wasn't there in the past. It was there. The exposure wasn't as such it is now. Now we are exposing a lot. The press are doing a lot of vibrant investigation, going through a lot of your boys and going on. The question now is prosecuting to set up the deterrent, and that is up to the executives to do it. So it's up to us to look at in the constitution, should we have an independent body? Even the prosecuting. You know, people are calling for separation of the Attorney General from the Justice, so that the prosecutor become independent, so they can do his work. So we have to look at that aspect. And for me, what we are doing right now is the way forward. You know, in the past, we used to call of human rights, abuse of human rights, and go. Now we have got the plenty of the right that even Parliament is behaving with the right. Now the accountability is what we are looking for.
Accountability.
Yes, people should be accountable. People should be responsible in the position they are given to. And the forum, like yesterday you had, was one of them. I was very happy. I listened to it on Joy FM. Otabel, that your guy, they call him Manasi did a lot of good talking. Those are the things we expected. And the next is the citizens should make the government to bite. But when you fail to bite as a government...
Vitus Azim raised a very important issue that this government hasn't shown
well, I say this government, say all governments.
All governments.
Please,
okay.
I like
governments have not shown the goodwill or the willingness to enforce court judgments. Martin Amido's case is a typical example. Yeah, that has we don't know what.
Not only Martin Amido, because you can go back to all the, go back to Ghana at 50, go back to how did they call it? I see, go back to a waste. When I came to this country in 1997, I was an auditor in the Controller Account General. And one thing I realized, the greatest thing we do is a waste in our system. If I don't even corruption, well, corruption is part of waste. Yeah. Serious waste. And nobody's tackling it. A thing that can be done by 2 CDs is now at 4 CDs. So you see the inefficiency. And you know, we talk of value of money. And the value of money is the 3 E's: economy, effectiveness, and efficiency. And this will go, a thing that can be done for 5 CDs is done for 10 CDs. So inefficiency. A waste in the system. If you can reduce the waste by 30%, I bet you this country will move forward. Not even 50, 30%. I'm an auditor by profession, and I know what exactly I'm talking. If I reduce the waste in the system by 30%, I can tell you that Ghana will move forward very fast. And that calls for institutions, that calls for all the leadership. When I talk of leadership here, I mean parliament, judiciary, and executive together, and the 4th arms of government, that is the press. I think they are doing their best now, though there could be a small one mishap between a few of them. But credit goes to the press, which is the 4th arm of government. It's now up to the legislature, arm of government, judiciary, and the executive to perform those functions that has to be done to let Ghanaians be free.
One of the problems that we face as a country is the right to information. Yes. We're looking at passing the right to information, changing some of the clauses and making it stronger. Do you think that do you think that when passed into law, it will help fight corruption any way than when we don't have it?
I don't.
You're
think,
not sure.
I don't think so. I think it's the human nature and the motivation to do it, as Asim was saying. I mean, it's the human being who carries this and going on. We have our culture, and I think that's one aspect of social we have to look at. Today, I'm an auditor. I expose you because you have invested, let's say, 50 million. Yeah. Now, me who expose you become a bad knot in the family. Yeah. That I expose you.
It's not even me who will attack you. My family will come after you.
Attack you that I made them to be very good. So that culture, people are not seeing the harm you have done. Me rather who has exposed you, causing harm to the whole of the society. Go on. Secondly, when somebody comes and amass wealth, people are just happy. They don't care where he gets the money. Society doesn't care. When I was working in Britain in the audit service, we even audit the lifestyle of workers. If you see your BMW, and tomorrow with a Ford, we want to know how did they acquire it. When we say we want to know if you are doing business, are you paying the right tax to the government? As an auditor, we do that. You do that here, they say witch hunting. It's time in America, it's time in Britain. I've worked there for 7 years, and I've worked there for 5 years. I know what exactly I'm talking. So it's high time we look at all this culture, things that will change, and let people know that the guy was investing 50 million or go with that 50 million could have done at least the Salaga Makango Road, could have helped my constituency to go on, but it's not there.
So key issue you're raising is that whether right to information bill is passed or not. I mean, the fight against corruption depends on you and I.
Yes,
and our attitude,
your attitude, the institutions' attitude,
from waste,
and the attitude of all the leadership I've mentioned, ready to bite and make sure we will stop it.
Right. We're still trying to get Asa Nkuma on the telephone to help us with some of the legal dimensions that have come forward, including the fact that the questions that have been raised, that a threat to go to court is misdirected, especially if you are suing the Auditor General. And Vitus Azim did mention that if they were suing the Attorney General, it would have been in the right direction. Abubakar Day is still in the studio with me. We'll take a break and we'll be right back. Stay with me. Welcome back. Let's quickly go on to the telephone line now and get to speak to Dr. Somtim Tobiga, who is a private legal practitioner. Good evening, sir.
Good evening, and wish you all your listeners a happy good evening too.
Thank you very much. Now, Occupy Ghana is giving the Auditor General up to 30 days to recover all state funds that have been seen to be lost. I mean, the Auditor General's reports for various years, they cite, have brought out revelations of money that have been misappropriated and what have you. So is this a legal case that is worth pursuing?
First of all, let's look at it as a novelty case, because there are very few cases in Ghana that one can really get hold of. But the question involves who enforces judgments that have been procured by the court, against certain parties by the court. In other words, if the court says you owe the state so much, who enforces or who forces to pay? Yeah. And now, generally, the enforcement is the executive function. Now, and in that means, because it's a money going back to the consolidated fund, it will be the Attorney General through the Ministry of Interior or other related bodies who would be running after the person who is allegedly owing the government some debt to pay.
To enforce those judgments.
To enforce those judgments. Now, if the government is not enforcing it, the question now is, can a private party take the government to court and ask the court to compel the
agencies to enforce?
To enforce. And that itself may represent a novelty. Because under our laws, it is the Attorney General who pursues these matters.
I see.
And it is the government who must enforce this judgment there. Now, if the government is not enforcing it, and you now go to the court and take the position as the Attorney General, the first issue the court will decide is the question of capacity. Whether the people who are bringing it are the right people to compel the government to enforce judgments. And as I said, these things give us an opportunity to expand and examine new areas of the law. Yeah. So even though there may not be clear, very visible answers, it is an attempt, or it will be appreciated if parties can go to court and try it out, so that we will be able to expand our legal territory. Right. Even if now, even if it's now, it's not being enforced. Right. And it will open a lot of avenues, whether a private party can bring an action to enforce other areas, not just about judgment deaths, but other obligations that the Attorney General ought to take and is not taking.
On behalf of the state. Okay, Doc, I'm grateful. We're grateful for your time on today's Big Story. I know our time was very short. We didn't get to you early, but we're grateful. So, Alhaji Abubakar Day, he said it all, right? You don't think that we should give up. No. And he also feels that although there are issues with enforcement of court judgments, it doesn't mean that nobody should be going to court.
Yes. Oh, no, yes. I believe that. I only think they have misdirected it. They can take, I don't know the law, I'm not a lawyer, but I think they can take the Attorney General or whoever, they can dig further to find out the institution responsible to recover debt and find out what they're not doing. They can take to court, and then, as he said, that will be, at least, the precedent will be set.
That's right, that will be a novelty. Yes. So you don't think that we should give up on the fight against corruption?
No. The press can also put measure on Parliament to ensure that Parliament has all the necessary power to check the government. And the executives, let's use the word executives. Right. And the Parliament could do that better.
Alhaji, we're grateful for your time on today's Big Story. Alhaji Abubakar Day is a ranking member of the Parliamentary Public Accounts Committee. My name is Stephen Anti. We'll be right back with an interactive segment. Do stay.